Hey YouTube, it's time for Q&A number 25. So I've done a lot of these now, but before you get into the questions, I do want to shout out my friend Adam from the Rubik's Cubes for providing the shirt worn in this video. So as you can see, it says, "Wanna build a cube tower." Now these shirts are not available for you guys to purchase, unfortunately, but he did make this specifically for me for my birthday. So that was a really cool present from him, so big shout out to him, make sure to go check him out. Anyway, now let's get into the questions. So Piano Plays says, "Upload more, we need more not just from you, but from the whole squad." So I agree, I really do wish I could upload more. A lot of it is just because of school and just life being really busy. I really do wish I had the time to upload more, and whenever I do get the time, I really make it a point to work on a video. So I'm really sorry if uploads aren't as frequent as you would like, or as frequent as I would like, but it is something that's definitely a priority for me when I do have the time. So hopefully this summer I'll be able to get a decent amount of videos up, but we'll see. And as far as the rest of the squad goes, that's totally up to them. Whenever they want to upload, you know, fine by me. Would you rather pull a fire alarm in public or solve a cube? See, that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna have to say solve a cube, but it's like really close. Why did you choose to make your channel cubing instead of video games? So, it's kind of interesting. That wasn't really a decision I ever felt like I had to make. Back when I made my channel, it wasn't like I wanted to make a YouTube channel and then I needed to decide what it was about. It was more like, I want to make a cubing channel. So I just kind of knew, like, right off the bat that I didn't want a video game channel. I was just more interested in cubing, and I thought it would make a better channel, honestly. Do cubing skills ever help you with everyday things? So I would definitely say that I've learned how to memorize things better because of blind solving, but I feel like cubing skills haven't helped me in everyday life as much as just being a cuber in general has. Cubing has put me in a lot more, like, situations that I wouldn't end up in otherwise. Competitions are a big example of that. You know, it's just like a big social environment where it allows me to become, like, more of an extrovert. I'm definitely more extroverted than I was when I started cubing, so, you know, just things like that cubing has exposed me to that I wouldn't have experienced otherwise. Plus, whenever I meet somebody new who's not a cuber, it gives me something cool to say about myself, which is always kind of a nice thing. Remember that part of the video where I said I was extroverted? A guy just walks by with a dog and I instantly shut up and hid. Does the word cubes in your name refer to cubes being plural, or does it refer to the fact that you cube? Just something I was wondering. So this question is actually really interesting to me because I never realized that it could refer to, like, the action of cubing until, like, a few years after I made my channel and somebody else asked me the same question. Yeah, it actually does refer to the plural cubes. It doesn't really mean anything, but, like, I wasn't saying, like, DG is doing the act of cubing. Yeah, I'm just saying DGCubes. That's me. If you could have any discontinued cube back in mass production, which would it be? So I would probably have to go with the Oolong V1, not because it would be my main or anything, but just because I absolutely love the way that cube turns, and I only have one of them. I want like 10 of them. I love that cube so much. It's honestly like one of my favorite 3x3s. Do you have any pets? Yes. That one, and that one. So yeah, that's my pet collection. Make sure to come back to DG Pets for another video next year when I'll... Q&A, what is your best 2x2 through 7x7 relay time? If you haven't done one yet, then do an attempt. So this is an interesting one. I have done a few 2x2 through 7x7 relay attempts for the Speed Solving Weekly competition before, and it's kind of been a goal of mine to get that sub 10 minutes. Currently, my time, I'm not sure exactly what it is, I'll put it up on screen right now, but I know it's very close to 10 minutes, and I'm really close to breaking that barrier. So I'm going to keep trying. Hopefully I'll get sub 10 sometime soon. How much respect for Tony Fisher did you lose, if any, when he filed that rather unreasonable copyright claim? A lot of people hate him now, and I myself did think a bit less highly of him when I first found out, but I don't think that alone is enough to make him a bad figure in our community. So this is a really interesting question for me. So for those of you who don't know, recently the Cubing Historian, who's a really cool YouTuber, I love his videos, he got a copyright claim from Tony Fisher because he used Tony Fisher's footage without asking permission. But in the end, YouTube ruled in favor of the Cubing Historian and said that it was under fair use, so he was allowed to use Tony Fisher's footage without asking because it was transformative enough that it wasn't like he was just stealing the footage. So yeah, personally, as a YouTuber myself, I definitely sided with the Cubing Historian on this one. I do think what he did was definitely transformative enough for him to use Tony Fisher's video without getting explicit permission. I see where Tony Fisher's coming from. I think it would have been reasonable for the Cubing Historian to ask permission, but also at the same time, I think Tony definitely should have given that permission if he did ask. What do you think the value of your whole collection is? Okay, so I'm going to make this a little game for myself, so I'm going to guess now. I haven't done any actual research or anything like that, and then before I put this video up, I'm going to actually add up the retail prices for every cube in my collection. So if they're discontinued, I'm just going to go with the price that they were when I first got them, or if they're like super rare or something like that, I'll just make an estimate, not what somebody would pay for it, but what somebody would pay for it if it wasn't so rare. That's just how personally I'm going to define value. I'm not going to go by what I could sell it for now, I'm just going to go by what it could have been bought for originally. So by that metric, I'm going to guess guess that my cube collection is worth $2,000. It could be way more, it could be way less. I feel like if anything it's going to be more than that, but we'll see. I'm going to say $2,000.50. How about that? If I'm within, let's say, 10-20%, I'll be pretty proud of myself. So I'll put on screen what it actually is and how far off I was. And if that number is less than 20%, I will make this face. If that number is more than 20%, I'm going to make this face. Why don't you have an SM? And if you have tried one, what is your opinion on it? So I have tried an SM before, again RSM, and I really did enjoy it. I think it is a really good cube. The reason I personally don't have one is because I really only get cubes if I think they will be my main at this point. I'm not really much of a 3x3 collector, so I really only get a cube if I'm like pretty sure it would be my main by a decent amount. So yeah, that's really the only reason I never got one, but I might get one someday if I think it would beat my current main. Q&A, when are you going to stop making Q&A vids? Don't get me wrong, I want them to go on for as long as possible. I don't see myself stopping making Q&As as long as the channel is going, so hopefully many more years I keep doing these. These are honestly some of my favorite videos to make, so I don't think I'll stop anytime soon. If you would be a towel, then which color? I would be hex value A57700. He's short. I'm 14 and I'm 6 inches. Congrats. So are we gonna make a video together? Yeah, sure, come on over. Who is the best Amigo? Takeoff all the way. Takeoff is by far the best Amigo. Quavo's pretty good too though, and Offset's pretty great. So honestly, like, they're all good. But Takeoff wins all the time. What do you think your 3x3 PB will be by the time you finish college, and what are you going to college for? Okay, so I'm going to college for computer science, and by the time I finish college, so my 3x3 PB right now is 6.54, and I think like 4 years ago I was probably around 10 seconds or something like that, maybe closer to 11. So 4 years from now, I'm gonna guess that I'll have like a mid-4, let's say 4.3, 4.4-ish, somewhere around there. That would be really cool. Okay, so this is a really long comment, but they start out by saying, you are amazing, so first of all, thank you for that. And then they say that I inspired them to practice pyramids and get sub 5, so again, that's really cool, thank you. And then they say they love my content in general, but I have very outdated 3x3s, and that I should do a big unboxing of all these cubes, and then they kind of go on to say that I should consider being sponsored by other stores. So I do kind of have a couple things to say, like, in defense to that, I guess you could say. So as far as my outdated 3x3s, I do have a Yushin Huanglong coming in the mail right now. I think I'm getting it tomorrow. So I'm not sure if that video will be up before this one, but maybe. So there's that. I don't really, like I said before, I don't really collect 3x3s, so honestly I only get ones when I'm unhappy with my main, or I think they would definitely beat my main. So yeah, I've never really had a reason to get any of the super modern 3x3s. And as far as considering being sponsored by other stores, this is something that I've really wanted to talk about for a while. So the reason that I'm sponsored by Cube Depot is because personally I feel that Cube Depot is the best US cube store, and they work the best for me. They fulfill all the things that I would look for in a sponsor. So, you know, I think they have the best prices, I really like their customer service, and they have very fast shipping. And honestly, those are the main things I care about in a cube store. So before I did decide on going with Cube Depot, I spent a long time trying to decide what the best option for me was, and I basically considered every store out there. So I definitely have considered Speed Cube Shop and The Cubicle, and I came to the conclusion that for me personally, Cube Depot is the best one. A lot of people seem to see it as almost like a status symbol, like if you're sponsored by this store, you're better than somebody who's sponsored by this store or something like that, but that's not how sponsorships work at all. It's really like you pick one store that you love the most, and then you hope they sponsor you and give you a good deal. In my case, Cube Depot has done everything I could possibly ask for from a sponsor, and honestly, I don't think I will ever switch from them, just because it's really a combination of, one, being loyal to the people who helped get you here, and two, just the fact that I really like Cube Depot and I haven't seen them do anything wrong. So yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you if you really wanted me to go with The Cubicle or SCS or something like that, but I really don't see it happening in the future. DG, what was the funniest thing you saw, heard, or did at a comp? Okay, so I do have a really funny story about this. So this was about 3 years ago at this point. It was Norwich 2015 in Connecticut. So I was just kind of hanging out at the competition, and I noticed somebody had a box of donuts from Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, and they were walking around with it, like offering people these donuts. And then the thing that made me just lose it, I was laughing so hard, was they put this box of donuts on the table where somebody was in the middle of doing an OH solve, and they were trying to hand them a donut. So the judge at the table kind of like pushed them away and told them like to leave because it was in the middle of a solve. Honestly, like, I thought that was so funny, just because, like, how incompetent do you have to be to not realize that somebody is in the middle of a solve and they most definitely do not want a donut? But if you are the donut person, I hope you don't take any offense to this, but I do also hope you've learned your lesson, and I hope that none of you out there ever try to feed people during their attempts, because because that is a definite distraction, and it's pretty rude. But yeah, so those are all the questions I'm going to be answering in this Q&A, so make sure to leave a ton more questions in the comments below for Q&A number 26. This was a really fun one, so I hope I get some really good questions for the next one. But yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.